Callum, give us a countdown then when you're ready.
Yeah, guys. In 3, 2, 1. And ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Live here on the YouTubes, I think across 3 different YouTube channels, which is unprecedented and super awesome. Welcome, guys. This is the Speculation Squad, and we have something very tasty. We have something very awesome for you guys in mind. Today, we are actually discussing the past Sakurai Direct that just happened, and I have 2 guests with me. This is really fun because we all have our opinions about what just happened in the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Sphere, and what's fun about this is that not everyone here probably shares the same opinion, so we have a lot to talk about. Of course, everyone's like slowly trickling in through the live chat. So hi everybody. I will introduce right now the panel that we have today, starting with someone that I'm a huge fan of and I actually look up to quite a bit. Your content on YouTube is super awesome. I watch it all the time and I'm very happy that we get to do this discussion together. So with no further ado, this is PapaGenos. What's up, dude?
Hey, what's up? Yeah, just kind of settling from the bombshell reveal we just got, and yeah, it's been kind of a crazy past few days. I think the whole Smash community is torn asunder. It feels like over this one. So yeah, it's just absolutely crazy. I've been itching to talk about it. So I think the Speculation Squad is the perfect place to do that.
So Papa, tell us a little bit about yourself for people that might not know what your channel is about and your content.
So basically, I mostly do speculation stuff, mostly Smash speculation with leaks and theories and rumors and stuff like that. I've been doing it for it's like a year and a half now, it feels like, mostly for Smash Ultimate. I've done a few other things here and there. Sometimes I'll talk about other Nintendo stuff, occasionally other leaks and rumors for other games, but it's mostly Smash focused.
Right. And what I really like about your content is that, it's very legitimized, it's very detail oriented, and a lot of people in the leak sphere, so a lot of people that actually have a lot of inside information, feel very comfortable to talk to you, which I think is a very great asset to your channel. So I'm very happy that you are here today. Also, I have another person here that is also a YouTube content creator and also a very funny guy, someone that we've done discussions with before. And yes, he actually makes content like I think on the daily, so you should go ahead and follow both PapaGenos and my next guest, LaxChris. What's up, Chris?
It is great to be here, first of all, guys. Very special thank you to PapaGenos and Blocked Content. I love these guys a lot. We've become really good friends over the past couple of months now at this point. We, like Callum said, we all have very strong opinions on the Byleth Direct and this character and everything else. So I'm just very excited that we finally found a time to go ahead and talk about this. If you guys don't know who I am, like PapaGenos and Block Content, I do make videos revolving around Smash Ultimate speculation as well as Nintendo speculation. So now that we've got the next character reveal, it's going to be a lot of Nintendo Direct stuff and other stuff like that. But yeah, other than that, I love to stream Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. On January 28th, I am going to be the best Byleth player until someone takes that title from me. So if you guys think you can, come sub and get your butt kicked.
That's really awesome. I'm very happy to be joined by both of you guys to discuss something that a lot of people are a bit salty about, a lot of people are like angry about, or a little bit disappointed. I think myself, I'm somewhere in between. We'll get to discuss everything about this. Just to start you guys off, the Speculation Squad was something that we came up with a little while ago, where it was basically 3 of these YouTubers or whatever configuration we like. And we basically come together like the Avengers, right? And we form a team to talk about something and hopefully get, a couple of different points of views in here, which I actually really like about this. So the Speculation Squad is PapaGenos, LaxChris, and myself. My name is Callum. This is Blocked Content. And of course, you guys know that are here on the channel. I do video game animations, a lot of discussions about games, leaks, and of course, reviews on everything. So with that all out of the way, guys, I have a bunch of questions for you guys, so I want to go down the path here and basically say this Sakurai Direct, it actually really divided the fan base in a lot of ways, right? It really made an impact in somewhat of a negative way. I mean, we can literally see the negativity if we look at the likes and the dislikes on the official video. So all of that to me is extremely interesting because it shows you that we don't really, or a lot of people might take the Smash Brothers stuff for granted, but especially Sakurai, I feel, as the creator of this thing. Of course, the characters are picked by Nintendo for this Fighter's Pass, but it kind of feels like this might have been like some sort of error logistically that they might have not expected. Of course, the issue might not be that big, in Japan and stuff like that, but definitely here, we've noticed, because we're all content creators, that the reactions have all been quite negative on the whole. And I wanted to start with PapaGenos to kind of ask your gut reaction. Of course, we could see it on YouTube. Everyone should check out everyone's reactions. But I really want to find, like, it's been settled for a little bit now. I feel like you've gotten like set with it for a while. What are your thoughts at this moment about the direct, like in terms of an entertainment piece?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So I will say, my reaction video that you brought up or whatever, because I was very vocal and opinionated about it in the moment. It's a raw reaction video. I didn't stream it, so it was something if I wanted to not put it out there, I could have just decided, nah, I'm not gonna put that out there. But I like transparency. I think my opinion is what my opinion is. If you'd asked me a week beforehand what I thought would have been worst case scenario, I probably would have said another Fire Emblem character jokingly, and then that's what we got. So I'm not going to act like now that that's reality, that's not what I think about it. So yeah, I mean that was my opinion in the moment. Now that it's sat for a little while and everything, it's really, really hard to dwell on it and take it as a negative beyond just being a negative moment or a negative reveal. You know what I mean? As a whole, Smash is so amazing. We have so many characters. If Smash had ended when Ultimate was first revealed, we got everyone is here plus Inkling and Ridley. Like, that's what I wanted Smash 4 to be. So, the game was perfect there. We've gotten so much more since then. DLC is more than I could have asked for, getting Banjo and stuff like that. And then looking ahead, getting 6 more is insanity. Like, it's more characters I think that I'd ever thought was realistically possible in a Smash game. So it is very, very hard to stay mad at something like this. But still, if I give my opinion on that reveal on this character, I believe it was a bad choice. Worst case scenario, everything I probably didn't want. And I was pretty much ready for just about anything here. If it was a character I didn't want, that's fine. If it was a character I never guessed at, totally fine too. But there is multiple things. There are multiple issues with the Fire Emblem overrepresentation, Fire Emblem DLC, the whole everything about this reveal had a lot of history behind it, a lot of multifaceted things making it why I'm calling it a worst case scenario. It's much different than just not liking the character or something like that. Byleth, if you like Byleth, cool, more power to you. As a character, Byleth is fine. As a series, Fire Emblem is fine. But there's all these different pieces kind of that made this, in my opinion, a very bad reveal. And like you said, given the dislike ratio on the video, just given how the Smash community has been since then, it's it's a thing. It is a real thing. So my gut reaction was kind of vent about it, point out all the things that had happened with it. But now that it's sat and everything, whatever. We have 6 more coming, and I honestly thought if we got another Fighters Pass, it would be 5 more coming, so I can take Byleth as an extra, whatever. But there's still issues with it. So while I'm not going to just dwell on Byleth forever or anything like that, definitely ready to look ahead to the future and for all the great things Smash is going to be on the horizon. And looking at the past, seeing how amazing Smash Ultimate already is, I'm not going to dwell on this one moment. But at the same time, my opinion on this moment was negative, and I'm going to be transparent and not going to hide that. So that's my thoughts on the whole thing overall. Don't really want to dwell on it, but my opinion is still, yeah, this was kind of not what I wanted whatsoever, and not where not the direction or the choice I think that should have been made here. So that's,
and I think a lot
of
people can really understand that from a perspective of something that you literally just mentioned, where it's like the over-representation of certain franchises. I mean, it's no joke that we literally made the thumbnail for this video be Super Fire Emblem and Nintendo All-Stars, right? The idea here that a lot of people have said that this is a franchise, Fire Emblem, that I feel deserves to be, front and center for a whole lot of this. I mean, it started in Melee with Marth and Roy, which, we weren't really all that much introduced to in the West. But seeing it grow has been amazing, all these different characters. But yes, I completely agree. It's a little bit strange that there are, I think, as many Fire Emblem characters now as Mario characters, or maybe more at this point. That's really strange. And, seeing that grow over the years really makes you think, they're probably playing favorites a little bit behind the scenes. And I feel, especially when I look at the Fighters Pass that we had, which was all third-party characters, but except the final one, which we actually have a theory about that it might actually been this character from the second Fighter's Pass that they kind of lent over because there is a female character basically in Byleth, so that they didn't want to, end the Fighter's Pass with all the backlash that it will get with no female fighters. That's a theory, but the main idea here is that it just thematically makes no sense to me, which is probably the thing that I mourn the most. When you see the image of all these characters together, and it's like Joker, Hero, Banjo, Terry, all these icons of a certain part of gaming or an era of gaming, and then it's like Byleth from Fire Emblem, the new game that came out a few months ago, and it's like, what's going on over here? I really have no idea why they made that choice, and I would be very curious to find out. What I would also be very curious to find out is, any gut reactions from Chris over here that you really felt when watching this. Were you sad? Were you disappointed? Were you angry? Or something in the middle?
Yeah, so let me go ahead and first say that I think that Byleth overall was one of the biggest, created one of the biggest divisions in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate speculation and the fandom as a whole in a while. People right now, so there's people firmly on both sides, right? So there's people that have liked the video to oblivion because they're like, oh, we don't deserve Sakurai. He's putting a ton of work into all these characters, and we should just be happy with whatever character we get. And there's people who downvoted the video that we ended up getting who are saying, it's true that Sakurai is doing a lot for us and we love Sakurai, but this is not a character that we wanted to end up seeing. Now, if you guys did go ahead and watch my initial reaction to it, I would say that I tried to make the best of a bad situation, right? Because I went in with the mindset that even if it wasn't a character that I wanted to see in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, I knew that Sakurai and his team were going to put a lot of work into every aspect of this character. And so I tried to go into it with a really good attitude. But honestly, when you're more excited for a Mii costume than the character, the new character that's coming to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, that is definitely saying something. Now, in terms of my general reaction, like I said, I tried to go into it with a really positive attitude, but I was shocked. It is absolutely crazy to think that we have another Fire Emblem character in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate when we literally only have from Zelda 3 different versions of Link, Zelda, Sheik, and Ganondorf. I don't think that Fire Emblem personally deserves that much representation, and it might just be because I don't know that much about Fire Emblem, but Byleth looks very similar to the other Fire Emblem characters, and considering that, yes, we did all get our hopes up to get another awesome third-party character, and we all thought that this was going to be some great final reveal. I mean, one of the things that I talked about a lot was that I thought that the last character on the first Fighter's Pass was going to end up being a character that people actually wanted to see because, I mean, if it wasn't, why wouldn't they have just saved Banjo-Kazooie for the final one, right? The fact that they saved Byleth to be the final reveal right after we got Terry Bogard, who had mixed reactions to be sure, definitely was a strange choice in my opinion. So am I disappointed? Yes. Am I still going to get Byleth? Yes, because I bought the Fighter's Pass, but I'm pretty disappointed overall with Byleth joining the battle.
All right. Well, yeah, I pretty much echo your sentiments, especially when you talk about the fact that it's really weird to say if this is the final choice of these characters. I feel like the idea of saving Banjo as the final character would have probably not landed all that well with Japanese audiences. But, you could have maybe done Terry or, even Joker. It feels like Joker, the first character, but it could have definitely been the final character, and I feel like the reaction to that would have probably been, oh, well, then I'll definitely get that Fighter's Pass, the next one, because they're doing some crazy stuff over here. Even Hero, I think Hero, with everything that Hero brought, with the special move set, with all the different choices, that could have been a great final choice. This, I feel, from all the characters in this Fighter's Pass, is definitely the weakest one to end on. And actually, I've been really passionate about the fact that we do actually pay money for these characters without knowing who they are. And that is actually a big problem with this. Of course, it's not a problem that is anywhere, solvable, because Smash Brothers, the business of these games is the big reveals and the secrets and the things that we don't know. So I understand that. But a lot of people are probably going to be turned off by the fact that they ended on this, and this might be a hint towards things to come. Maybe we will get, similar stuff to this that people, wouldn't necessarily be bonding with all that much. So, yeah, I really feel like what you guys are saying makes sense.
Yeah, I think Byleth as a final reveal, it's definitely, I mean, there's a timing is, like I said, there's like multiple things that kind of make this the issue, and the reason that I think so many people have the opinion that this was not a great character to add, a great choice, a great decision to make. And I'm in that group, and I'm gonna say that is my opinion on this. That does not mean I hate Smash, does not mean I hate Sakurai by any means. I love Smash, I love Sakurai, but at the same time, it's like, I'll make a Star Wars analogy. Jar Jar Binks in Phantom Menace, most people do not like that character.
Right.
But you don't necessarily say that the crew that worked on the movie is to blame for Jar Jar Binks. You say George Lucas. In the similar sentiments, I absolutely love Sakurai, and he gets all the credit all the time. But at the same time, when something like this happens, I think the gut reaction is to be like, Sakurai, why'd you put more Fire Emblem in this game? That kind of thing. But I know I'm well aware that more than Sakurai, is working on this, is making these decisions. And in fact, Nintendo supposedly picked this DLC. That's what we were told. The first Fighters Pass, anyway, was chosen by Nintendo. So I'm just truly baffled at how this happened. After Corrin had basically a backlash, and this is so similar to Corrin. Even ending the pass on Byleth is similar to Corrin. Ending Smash 4 with Corrin and Bayonetta. It's just really, really baffling. I do think moving the timing around probably would have been better, but I still think there's an overall issue with Fire Emblem's representation, just how many characters, and specifically as DLC. I don't know how many people really look at this, but when you look at the first-party Nintendo DLC in both Smash 4 and Smash Ultimate, I think it's 6 characters, right? And that's Mewtwo, Lucas, Piranha Plant, and Mewtwo and Lucas are returning. Piranha Plant is a new character. And then it's Roy, Corrin, and Byleth. And so you have Roy as a returning character and 2 newcomers. So out of all of the newcomer first-party DLC, 2 of them are Fire Emblem, 1 of them is Piranha Plant. And there's so many first-party DLC characters people really want. And especially once DLC happens, it's like, oh, there's still a chance for your character. And for whatever reason, Fire Emblem keeps getting favored. It's just kind of, again, baffling. I think maybe the strangest thing is that we saw the Rex Mii costume as like a bonus for buying the pass, and Sakurai even said, like, I didn't have enough time to add in Xenoblade, add in the Xenoblade character because Xenoblade 2 came out too late in the cycle and everything like that. But Fire Emblem Three Houses is later than that. And so it was clearly prioritized to make sure we get a Fire Emblem character as DLC. I'm not even a big Xenoblade fan. I'm not even a big fan of Rex, but he doesn't hit all these issues that getting another Fire Emblem character does. So it's just really, really baffling to me that this occurred. It's honestly almost comical, and that's kind of why my reaction was, I'm just going to vent about this. It was sort of just like, okay, this is so bad, it's funny, and I'm just going to go, hard on it. So yeah, it's really weird that this whole scenario, specifically Byleth being at the end and everything, even happened at all. It's very baffling to me.
Yeah, the fact that we have Byleth here, it's so interesting because we all know that, getting that protagonist from the Fire Emblem series, I feel is one of the things weighing it down, where it feels like, we could, even if we have to get a character from that franchise, if every time a new Smash game comes around, we will get the protagonist character that really doesn't have that big of a personality, that it's like a male and female version, it becomes really predictable. I like the fact that in Smash Brothers we get to play as stuff like the villains, or the side characters, or stuff like, oh, maybe we don't choose as like Mario, but Dr. Mario or Luigi, or characters like Charizard instead of just Pikachu. So those ideas to me really fall apart when you think about the future of Smash, is just every single Fire Emblem character. And I feel the biggest problem that I have with this is essentially, we can predict all we want, but ultimately, Nintendo did choose this Fighters Pass. Nintendo did choose the characters here, and it becomes really evident. You know, when they first chose Joker, they were like, wow, Nintendo's got taste. You know, they really know what the fans kind of want. You know, these like out of nowhere picks that, you know, some people might have expected, but, you know, comes out of nowhere. And it's like this third party thing that they're not even actively pushing. Like, Nintendo knows their stuff. They know at least what Smash fans would want or what would work well in Smash Brothers. Now, I feel like that completely has fallen apart, where it really feels like they prioritized something for sales, which that doesn't even make any sense right now because the game has been out, and I doubt that this will drive sales forward to that kind of a degree, so they even missed that kind of a window. So I wouldn't necessarily say that it's a big Sakurai bias thing. I do think that Sakurai really likes these characters because it was evident because of that stream where it was like, oh yeah, he definitely like knows like the characters in the game. He definitely played through it a bunch of times, and he really wants this. You know, it's you know, evident that he does. However, it's strange to think that Nintendo would be pushing characters like this and still be actively doing stuff like, here's Banjo, like the biggest thing in gaming just happened, and you don't end your pass on something huge like this. So my question, I guess, for Chris here is that, yeah, if we have characters like this in Smash Brothers and everything becomes a little bit more predictable, what do you think would break this? You know, what do you think should happen in the next Fighters Pass to bring people back? Maybe in terms of a specific character or just a specific trend or a specific field of where to get a certain character. What do you think?
Yeah, so one of the things that I wanted to go ahead and say about that actually is a lot of what I like to do on my channel when we talk about leaks and stuff is talk about Smash Ultimate characters from a business perspective, right? Because at the end of the day, Smash Ultimate is the best-selling fighting game of all time. I mean, Sakurai even went ahead and said it himself during the Byleth presentation. Um, so because we know that this is like the best-selling game of all time, of course Nintendo's going to want to go ahead and make as much money as possible. And by ending this Fighters Pass with a character that disappointed probably most of the Smash Ultimate fan base, like, and that's just from my own perspective. I from what I have seen, it looks as though most people are disappointed overall with the Byleth reveal. I mean, how many people are going to go ahead and pick up this next Fighters Pass? Like, if they ended this first one so poorly, what is that going to say about the next one? I mean, for all we know, we could be getting another Fire Emblem character, or we could be getting another character that not a lot of people really want to see in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So I think that this is definitely scaring a lot of people off because at the end of the day, we have no idea who these characters are going to end up being. Yes, Sakurai did say that all of these characters are already chosen at this point. However, we don't know who they're going to be, so it's kind of like a grab bag. Like I said, we could be getting all three of the Fire Emblem Three Houses captains, or we could be getting characters that nobody wants to end up seeing. And because they ended this with Byleth, I think it definitely scared a lot of people away. I mean, I have people that come to my streams all the time saying, like, I didn't want to go ahead and buy the Fighters Pass because I didn't know which characters were going to make it into the game. And I'm glad that I didn't because I don't want to get another Fire Emblem character. I don't feel like getting another Fire Emblem character in Smash is like a good way to spend my money. So, yeah, from a business perspective, this was probably the worst way that they could have ended off the first Fighters Pass because it's definitely going to hurt the sales of the next Fighters Pass when it goes live next Thursday.
Yeah, and I feel like even a better character like this, I think you guys probably all agree. I think a better character, you know, Switch here could have probably been ending the pass on Piranha Plant and having Byleth as the bonus character that people get. I mean, that would have been infinitely better, I feel.
If Byleth was free, I mean, like, I think it would have been a much better reaction because that way we would have gotten some kind of Fire Emblem Three Houses character in the game. But it's not one that we had to end up paying for. So yeah, Piranha Plant would have been an awesome Nintendo character that nobody would have seen coming. But like the fact that we got a Nintendo character when we all thought that it was going to be third-party characters, and then they decided to go ahead and choose a Nintendo character that people just didn't want to end up seeing, like, that is going to leave a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths.
Yes, absolutely. I feel like it's a strange decision to have this huge gaming crossover and to have this Fighters Pass be all these third-party characters to end on what people will perceive as to be, this is what's going to be the future. This is what's going to be next. Now, I really wanted to shift gears a little bit from Byleth. We'll probably go, come back around to Byleth and probably the gameplay style of the character and all the details that were revealed, because there is a lot of cool stuff to talk about, because I actually don't hate the character. I don't hate the inclusion of the character, and I definitely don't hate the moveset. I feel like the trailer for the character was, one of the weakest ones that they've done for Ultimate, for sure. The general presentation I thought was quite boring. When it popped up on the screen and said, "What is Fire Emblem?" I think I laughed out loud. I mean, that was a moment where I was like, yeah, they pretty much don't get their audience here. If they are definitely like including a character like Byleth, but then having to explain what Fire Emblem is in Smash Brothers, something doesn't sit right. So I wanted to shift gears a little bit towards, a more hopeful sense that we actually did get these 6, unknown character slots revealed. And that was something that I called, I think, in a previous conversation that we all had, where it was like, I hope that they will reveal at least the empty slots for what, will be next. And, that we'll know that we'll be getting 3 characters or 4 characters. That'd be awesome. I think it won't be 5, but it will definitely be more than 2. So I thought 3. But then getting the reveal that we are actually getting up until character 11. So we are getting 6 new Smash Brothers fighters in that second pass. That is gigantic news for Smash fans. It talks a lot about the future of Nintendo and the future about port for the Switch, because they've revealed January 2022 is going to be like the end of the Fighters Pass 2, which is insane to me, or like the end of 2021. So all of that combined together makes for a pretty mixed bag, where it's like we are excited for the future because there's so much potential within those 6 characters, right? People have, all the memes that you want about, characters that come in 6s, right? But the Bionicle characters or something like that, or the Justice League. But, to be fair, this could all be really interesting. Third-party characters, first-party characters, these interesting choices that, a lot of people really wanted for a very long time, or these out-of-nowhere picks, or, let's talk about that leak that had the Doomslayer character, the Kako Demon, and of course the Mario RPG character, Mallow. I mean, all of that stuff combined makes me think there is a lot to talk about here. There is a lot to speculate about, but also there's just a lot to get excited about in the future of Smash Brothers. So especially Chris, I know that you're very passionate about, what is inside those little boxes, right? Which character could we find there? I'm curious, what were your initial thoughts when you saw 6 characters? Was it positive? Was it negative? Was it hype? Or was it just, we got Byleth and now this?
Yeah, so the first thing that I want to go ahead and say, and I'm going to keep this brief because I know PapaGenos probably has some stuff to say, but I don't think this is going to be the end of DLC. I think that we are going to get more DLC. We might not get another Fighters Pass, but I think that once again, considering if we're looking at this from a business perspective, if someone buys all 3 Fighters Passes, they're spending more than the original base game. So I think they're definitely going to release another Fighters Pass, but we don't have to worry about that until the end of not this December, but next December. Anyways, in terms of the next characters, yeah, I definitely think that we're going to get a bunch of really awesome third-party characters, but at the same time, I want to see more Nintendo characters. Like I always say during my videos, just like Sakurai, that Smash has become a celebration of gaming. However, and this might be like a nostalgia thing at this point, but when I was growing up, it was Nintendo's All-Stars. Like we had characters like Mario, Link, Donkey Kong, and I know they're all in the game right now, but this was a Nintendo Battle Royale, so I'm hoping that we finally get to see more Nintendo characters. I mean, you guys know me, and you know that the character that I want to see more than anything in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is Tetra from The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, and considering we got Piranha Plant, we could definitely end up getting her or some other kind of cool Nintendo characters. I definitely think that by adding in more third-party characters, Nintendo in the long run is going to make more money. I mean, if they added in Master Chief over Tetra, yeah, Master Chief would probably make a little bit more money, but I think that Sakurai, if Nintendo is not telling him who to put in the game, is going to add in more Nintendo characters because, let's be honest, big game franchises like Zelda and Kirby really don't have many representatives that aren't Link or just Kirby. So, yeah, that's what I'm really hoping to see. I'm hoping that we get a lot of first-party characters this next Fighters Pass. However, I wouldn't be surprised if we got a lot of third parties.
Right. I understand. And I feel like the person that I really most want to know, because everyone saw like PapaGenos' initial video, the reactions to the character, and that's, I feel like, why I added like a little tear to his character in the artwork that I did. If you guys can see it, there's a tiny tear in his eye. So I thought it was a very truthful, a very honest video, and I like that about your content. It's like you wear your heart on your sleeve, and you talk about things in the way that you feel them, right? There's no presentation fluff there, which I like. So I really want to know from you, when you saw 6 character slots, I mean, you must have been filled with glee and probably possibility, but any more specific than that, what did you think was probably going to be inside these things? Third party, first party? What are your like initial thoughts on the Fighters Pass 2? We seem to have some audio issues on my side, where I don't think we have audio from Mr. PapaGenos, so we'll have to see if we can fix that on this end. I'll go ahead and bring it over to Chris. What were your initial thoughts on, like, will it be first party? Will it be third party? Do you have any ideas?
Yeah, so while Callum and PapaGenos are working on fixing this, in terms of the characters I think that we're actually going to end up seeing on this next
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Really
there you are.
You can hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Go ahead. Keep going, Chris. I'll jump in afterwards.
Thank you, Papa. I think that honestly, we might get some really big surprises in here, such as spirits being upgraded to playable characters, or maybe even assist trophies. I mean, one of the characters that I talk about a lot, and I know that people in both your chats are about to go absolutely nuts over this, but I think that Waluigi actually has a chance at being upgraded. I mean, if we are going to get any assist trophy into Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, it's going to end up being Waluigi, because he's like one of the most popular DLC character picks, and he's an assist trophy in the game. It's not like he doesn't have any representation already. And considering that the fan base is absolutely ravenous to get their hands on this character, yeah, I could definitely see Waluigi joining on this Fighters Pass at some point. I mean, if let's just say hypothetically that this is the absolute last bit of DLC that we're going to end up getting, right? Like, this is the end of the Fighters Pass, no more DLC after this. If they went ahead at the Game Awards, which, calling it right now, the final character is going to be announced at that next Game Awards. I just have a feeling, it's in my gut. I'm feeling it in my jellies. But it would be the most hype reveal in the world if they decided to add Waluigi in there, considering that everybody and their mother right now is saying that Waluigi is no chance. He's an assist trophy, and Sakurai just absolutely hates the character. So, yeah, guys, Sakurai is a very tricky man. Whenever we think that he and Nintendo are going to make a sharp right turn, they just turn right left. So, yeah, I think Waluigi's coming at some point. I'm calling it.
Yeah, I definitely think Waluigi has a good shot. I don't think he's out of the running or anything like that, especially as far as upgraded assist trophies go. I think he's the candidate. Like, if one of them gets upgraded, I think it's going to be Waluigi. As far as like seeing the 6 DLC spots and everything initially, obviously super hype. My initial thoughts on further DLC was like, best case scenario, another Fighters Pass of 5, but kind of lowering my expectations to like 3 or 4 characters is more realistic. And to see 6 is just like, wow, okay, maybe that whole thing of getting 10 more is like actually might play out in the end of this. I'm not going to think past 6, just like I wasn't going to think past 5 before. But totally possible. As far as who I think those 6 are, really tough to say. But maybe the most positive thing about getting another Fire Emblem character, Byleth, whatever, is that it is a Nintendo character that we do have now. There's always fan rules just based on what has happened so far, and that fan rule of it's all going to be third party is now done. So we can get first party Nintendo characters. I hope things branch out a bit. I do hope we get some first party Nintendo characters in the second Fighter Pass. I don't know who they would be, but I do think lots of series could use more representation. And one other thing, just about Fire Emblem and everything with Byleth and stuff like that. I think you were talking about it, Callum. The fact that we always get like the main protagonist character with Fire Emblem characters, or tend to anyway. And there's like a new one every game. Like every game is totally different. And so every time they make a new Fire Emblem game, it's like they want to put that next character in to rep that game. But there's lots of other series that have one-off characters as well, but we don't get them. And arguably, Skull Kid is going to be way more iconic in the future than Crom or or Byleth or something like that. And it's so, even though Skull Kid isn't the main character of Majora's Mask as a whole, sales-wise, it's gotten remasters, remakes, it feels like that character maybe could be in the game playable. There's lots of Nintendo characters that are like that don't, for whatever reason, get kind of passed over. And a lot of times the argument is, well, they're a one-off character. They're only in one game. Once again, like I'm saying with the Fire Emblem thing, there's multiple issues with the Fire Emblem thing. One of them is a lot of them are one-off characters. I think only a few of them. I'm not super familiar with Fire Emblem. I've played, I think, 3 of them. But a lot of them don't have the character return. I think Ike had a few games that had actual sequels to them. Sometimes they'll mention the character, like Marth, I know is mentioned in Awakenings. I played Awakening. But there's these characters from other series that are one-offs and they get kind of passed over. And the argument is always, well, it's because they're a one-off character. And it's like, how can that be the argument when Fire Emblem gets the character every time? So that's just something I wanted to bring up there on that subject. So hopefully we do get some first-party Nintendo characters, and I would love to get some iconic ones, even if they were one-offs.
Callum, really quick. I promise this will be really quick. One of the things that I wanted to go ahead and say was about the second Fighters Pass. So we know because of the video that Sakurai was filming it during November, like right around the time that Terry Bogard ended up getting released. And he said that at that point, they had already decided who the next 6 fighters were going to be on the second Fighters Pass, right? So what I'm getting at here is that who were the characters that we were speculating about and the characters that we were being loud about on Twitter and social media? Because we know that Sakurai and the Smash team does actually care about which characters we want to see in the game. I mean, Ridley, King K. Rool, Banjo-Kazooie, those characters didn't get into Smash Brothers because they made a huge impact on gaming. They made it into Smash Ultimate because those were characters that we wanted to see. So I'm thinking that whatever characters that we were being loud about at that time, I think at least 1 or 2 of them are going to get in because we know that Sakurai loves to please the fans. So it's entirely possible we could see a character like Sora or Waluigi or Doomguy or Ryu Hayabusa, because there were a lot of leaks going around at that time where we were talking about them basically every single day.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's some really vocal characters or characters that the Smash community has been vocal about. I mean, they did a Smash ballot, so they do, care what the Smash fans do want to see. I think Sakurai does care, and I'm hopeful that he has more control over the second pass. It's really tough to say. We were told Nintendo chose the first pass, but certain picks on it do feel specifically Sakurai Terry feels, very much so a Sakurai choice. But yeah, I'm also curious to see who we get in these next 6 and how that's going to play out.
I think we might have lost Callum.
Callum, you here?
All right, Callum, leave the call and rejoin.
Yeah, rejoin the call. That's what I did, and it fixed my sound.
Turning it off and back. Yeah, man, I think that one of the things I've been thinking about a lot recently is we need to get characters into Sakurai's going to get characters into Smash that we want to end up seeing, because those are also the characters that are going to sell. Like one of the characters that people have been vocal about that I also think would be awesome if they joined Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is Master Chief. And the reason I think that Master Chief would be really cool is because, Papa, I think that you remember this because I think that you covered this at one point as well, but it was leaked like a long time ago that Xbox Game Pass and Xbox Live were supposed to be coming to the Nintendo Switch in some way. So if we did end up seeing that on the Nintendo Switch, why not bring along a Microsoft character with it, specifically like the Mario of Microsoft? And it feels really weird to say that because Master Chief and Mario are 2 completely different characters, but yeah, man, that would be absolutely insane if we ended up actually getting Xbox Live and Xbox Game Pass and also Master Chief in Smash.
there was like a whole rumor thing about the Xbox Game Pass possibly coming to Switch, the Master Chief Collection I think coming to Switch. That was like last spring. There was a bunch of talk about that happening, and we kind of haven't seen anything, but we have seen a really close connection with Microsoft and Nintendo over the last year. So I feel like it's all kind of a matter of time. I feel like maybe they're saving it. Maybe it's an E3 thing, probably saving for when they want to reveal all that stuff or whatever the big Microsoft Nintendo connection thing is. But I do still anticipate something like that is probably coming, but probably just a matter of time here.
Right, absolutely. So Papa, while we wait for Callum to go ahead and reset his stuff, who's the character that you want to see right now? Which character, if you could choose right now, besides Geno, do you want to see in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate?
I mean, I always want to see Geno. I think I've really come around to Doom Guy. I really like the idea of Doom Guy in Smash. I think first-person shooters should be repped. I think,
right.
It's just got legacy and everything like that. I think it would have a really cool moveset, really cool style, really unique. Like everything would bring to the table would be awesome. So probably Doom Guy is the one at least that comes to mind. And on the subject of movesets, I will say, I don't know if I've said this on the stream yet, but I do think Byleth's moveset is actually the best way they've repped Fire Emblem yet. So I will say something positive about him. I just am the 8th try is just it's a lot of tries to do that. But I do like the idea of multiple weapons. A Monster Hunter, I feel like a Monster Hunter character could have had that gimmick as well. So I don't think it necessarily justifies Byleth. It's not like a moveset that had to go to Byleth. But as far as like, in a vacuum, if you just looked at the Fire Emblem characters and not the whole history of when and where and how and at what point they got in and stuff like that, Byleth's moveset is a really good representation of Fire Emblem having all the weapons.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so as far as characters I want, Doom Guy I think would be great for all the reasons. Moveset wise, first-person shooter, I'd love to see what that looks like, what Sakurai does with the first-person shooter.
Yeah, I think so too. So am I audible again?
Let's see Callum.
I'm audible again?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yes, I can hear you.
Very cool. Well, yeah, I think so too. This Fighters Pass #2, I think has a lot of expectations behind it, especially if we think about the Fighters Pass 1. And, I think how it started, I think it was a very strong start. I mean, Joker as the first character, of course, shredded everyone's expectations about this thing where it was like, oh no, we are getting like DLC fighters, but it can be like third-party stuff, right? And then it turned out to, even have characters like the Hero in there, which, Hero and Banjo were both revealed at the same time. That, of course, decimated the internet at the time, which I thought was a really great choice of them. Now in hindsight, knowing probably they should have saved one of the characters for later. But I do really believe that Terry was also a really great choice. Even if I initially didn't connect with the character that much, I feel like it was a really great inclusion. Now, looking forward to the other 6 character slots, if we take Byleth into account, yes, first-party characters are on the table. Of course, Geno is a character that comes up because I feel like that is one of the characters that makes the most sense. It's a character that Sakurai has talked about, before, a character he likes, a character that I feel would, fit that very specific Smash Brothers niche that also King K. Rool does, in the same way that it's like the character hasn't been seen for a very long time, but the character is finally back and Smash brought it back. Even Banjo, did that same thing. So yeah, I can definitely see almost a repeat of that same Donkey Kong trailer where like now Banjo is also sleeping with the characters in little like Donkey Kong's hut, and then something in the forest maze happens, or something like that. So it definitely could happen. In terms of characters that I would be excited about, yeah, that could be awesome, right? Characters that I would be excited about are definitely big third-party characters. Crash Bandicoot, I feel, deserves to be in Smash Brothers just as much as some of the characters in that first Fighters Pass. And I also think Master Chief, which actually was mentioned by Chris, Master Chief, if we think about a character like that, and to some extent Doomslayer, we really have yet to have a character that represents the first-person shooter genre. And of course, it is Smash Brothers. We're talking about a game that's primarily for good boys and girls. So we want to, represent it in a way that feels like it fits with Smash Brothers. But of course, characters can now have guns. We know that, right? His special move fun. So I really feel like there's a way that they could make it work. And if there is a character that I feel could make it work and be like PG and, have not necessarily bullets and everything, I feel like, Master Chief is a character that you could really realistically give these alien weapons and, a moveset that pretty much centers also around his, combat skills. I would definitely love to see a character like that because Master Chief to me is one of the biggest icons of gaming. Every E3 when you watch the Microsoft presentation, they always save that bit for last or in a big presentation style. So I feel like even though we have Banjo, we have the Microsoft partnership, I feel like probably they want to have something a little bit more than just Banjo. So to me, it is an exciting thing, the 6 characters, but really I'm just excited for just a few, and other surprises I will kind of let wash over me. But to be completely honest, I actually am pretty content with the roster that we have right now, simply because when Banjo entered, all my wishes were fulfilled, and I was like, well, I can actually stop doing all this now and, not be anxious about any character ever. Even if a character like Byleth would join the Smash, I wouldn't even be mad because I got my little bear and bird, and I feel like Sakurai did a really good job with, tending to fan expectations, and then at the final moment, and it probably was Nintendo that really wanted to push this game, it really, screwed the pooch a little bit. So in terms of those 6 characters, I would say there's like 2 or 3 big ones. I feel like Ryu Hayabusa would be great as well, but not like that won't be like a really iconic big character. I feel like a character like Master Chief, Crash, or even to a lesser extent Spyro, a character that like invokes, oh, this is the PlayStation character like Lara Croft or something, or oh, this is the Microsoft character like Master Chief. So that's kind of where I stand. And to kind of gauge expectations a little more, so we got a little bit more information than just these characters, than just these empty slots, than just Byleth, which, a lot of people are really, indifferent about. Some people are angry about, and some people actually love. In my chat, actually, a lot of people were very, very open to the idea of Byleth, or have just like completed the game and are like, well, now I can continue my adventure in Smash. So that could happen. But one thing that I think united everyone again at the end of the direct was basically Sakurai showing us a whole lot of other content in terms of Mii costumes, where we even got a Mii costume for Cuphead, which is a character that of course everyone universally loves, and a costume that looks great. So I just wanted to have you guys' thoughts on what did you think about the Mii costume content that came along with this direct. So maybe Papa, let us know what are your thoughts.
Sure, yeah. I was really, the Mii costumes were pretty sweet. Cuphead specifically, I love the, like, Sans had this and Cuphead had this, where they're like kind of more fleshed out, really look like the character exactly instead of just a costume on a Mii.
Yeah.
And they come with music. I love those. I think they're awesome. Honestly, if Gino got that treatment, I'd be totally cool with it.
Same here.
If he looked as good as those two, I'd be really happy with that. So yeah, I thought that was cool. Just getting Cuphead, getting Sans in the last one, was just cool to see indies, get some love like that. And then we got like Altair, we got the Rabbids, so Ubisoft got some stuff, so that was cool. I really do wish Ubisoft would get a character. I feel like Ubisoft's relationship with Nintendo is pretty close. Rayman. Yeah, Rayman. I mean, I know he's a spirit, but maybe spirits are happening for the next 6 here. So Rayman would be cool. Altair is cool too. I would have been cool with that as a character. Rabbids, probably not my favorite choice of a character, but whatever. I do think Ubisoft deserves a rep, so whoever it is, if they get a rep, would be cool to me. So yeah, I thought the Mii costumes were pretty good. We also got Mega Man. I think it was Mega Man X in Battle Network.
Yep.
Back, and so I've noticed that I think Capcom got some with Banjo, and then they got some here with Byleth. So it feels like the Capcom Mii costumes got like sprinkled around this pass for some reason. So it's a little odd, just something to note. I guess those are my thoughts about it. Chris, what were your thoughts about the Mii costumes?
Yeah, so I actually, like I said, enjoyed the Cuphead Mii costume reveal more than I enjoyed the Byleth reveal.
Agreed. Wrong, agreed.
I love, like, I don't know if you guys have ever played Cuphead before, but I played it last year with my girlfriend, and we played through the whole game. Super fun. Absolutely love Cuphead.
LaxChris
so
has a girlfriend.
Some kind of representation in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is absolutely amazing. And one of the things that I think is really special about seeing Cuphead as like a kind of like fully, I don't know what the right way to say this is, like a fully fledged Mii costume. Like, it's a Mii costume that actually like takes the shape of the character like Sans. It's the big reveal me costume. Sakurai is absolutely killing it, right? Like the fact that we got Sans with Megalovania in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate as a me costume, like everybody was like, "Oh, it's not getting better than that." Like that's the big one. And I don't think that Cuphead was as popular as Sans is. However, Cuphead was absolutely amazing as a me costume. Like I typically don't buy a lot of the me costumes just because like I don't really care about them all that much. But I bought the Sans one and I'm definitely buying the Cuphead one. So it definitely brings like a lot of hope to me in terms of like what other series could be represented. And like these are indie games, you know? Like everybody thought that indie characters and indie representation in Smash was never going to end up happening. And now we have two me costumes that were basically revealed as characters. So it's just amazing. I love that Sakurai is like recognizing that there are other you don't have to be a part of the big three, Nintendo, Xbox, or Sony, to be an important part of video game history. So seeing me costumes of characters like Cuphead and Sans is just absolutely amazing. And I really hope he keeps it up. I think there's a lot of really awesome indie characters out there that have like a really big like importance in gaming, and I just love it. I cannot wait to see who else is coming. And for 75 cents, like, yeah, of course I'm going to end up getting it.
Awesome.
I love it. It's awesome.
So the idea, I feel, which is really cool, is that there is a certain character that I feel deserves a me costume, and it's more likely than ever. Even though some characters are already assist trophies, we still have me costumes or little hats. I mean, think about a character like Knuckles, that is an assist trophy and has a costume.
Yeah.
Well, there could be another character quite like that in the same like indie game sphere, and I feel like a Shovel Knight me costume with a little shovel, I feel like as a sword fighter that would be incredible, and that would maybe even come with a little bit of music. So that is something that I'm definitely calling. That is probably going to happen because it feels so right for Smash Brothers, right?
Yeah, I would absolutely love Shovel Knight to show up. I was actually thinking about what other ones I'd like to see, and it's like there are a lot that fall into that indie game category
like
that work for this.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the pattern, I could see that. I could see Hollow Knight. I could see Quote.
Yes.
Honestly, Steve from Minecraft. I know a lot of people want him playable, but it's technically kind of an indie game, and with like the pickaxe, I could see that as a sword fighter.
Sword fighter,
yeah, and I'll even throw in, I know Geno isn't an indie game, but he was a me costume in the past. They haven't given us that me costume back. And I really could see him getting this treatment and wouldn't be mad about it. If he came with that, came with, Beware the Forest Mushrooms soundtrack, and a really nice polished looking me costume, I'd be, ecstatic about it.
Right. And Absolutely. Are there any ones that you are looking forward to, Chris?
Dude, there are so many good ones out there.
Waluigi.
one of the things that people have been throwing around is actually some kind of like Five Nights at Freddy's representation or Fortnite. And yes, I know it's absolutely heresy to talk about, Fortnite or Five Nights at Freddy's joining Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. However, like a me costume is the best of both worlds for everyone, right? Like if they get a me costume in Smash Ultimate, I mean, people can't get mad because they're not taking up a character spot. And for the people that like those game franchises, they can buy the me costume. So I think that me costumes are absolutely amazing. In terms of which one I'd love to see personally, you know what? Just if Tetra gets a me costume that looks really polished, just like Geno, I'd be totally fine with that as well. But honestly, I think Steve would be awesome. I think Steve is like super divisive right now. Like people are either firmly on the Steve is going to make it in or Steve is not going to make it inside. So getting Steve as a me costume with a music track, I think would be pretty cool. I'd be happy with that.
So to circle back around a little bit to the content that we actually, majorly got, which was, of course, Byleth. I think Byleth also came with a lot of interesting stuff that I feel people might be sleeping on a little bit that might not be discussing this. Because I feel like Byleth's moveset is interesting. The stage is super awesome. I mean, did you guys see that guard up at the front gate?
Yeah.
I had my problems with the direct. No, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, no, I was just making a joke. No, keep going.
So yeah, make all the jokes you want about that guard being like the next Smash newcomer, right? I feel like it's a difficult direct to kind of grade. I would probably give it a very low grade because I feel like even in terms of presentation, I feel like Sakurai is going a little bit overboard with explaining all these characters, and no, you pronounce their names differently than you would normally, and I feel like there's some details in there that we just really don't need to see. Sakurai playing character I feel is interesting, but zooming in on the character that much is a little bit, I really want to have some sort of surprise, right? And I feel like he might be robbing us of a little bit of that surprise by doing that kind of an in-depth look. However, I did totally love the moveset. I feel like a Fire Emblem character that has different projectiles, different sorts of heavy weapons was really cool. And of course, the stage too. So I want to go down, you guys, and kind of ask you, what do you think about the extra, the moveset of Byleth, the fact that it is two basically skins, and also the stage. So Chris?
I ended up going back and watching a little bit of like Byleth's moveset, that part of the direct specifically, but I ended up going ahead and watching like Zero's version of it where he talked about how how competitively viable they are. I don't really care about that kind of thing. I mean, the only time I really play Smash is with my fans, like when we do streams and stuff like that. But I definitely think that Byleth is one of the most unique Fire Emblem characters, right? I mean, you could argue that Marth, Roy, Lucina, Chrom, and Ike all have very similar movesets, and the only two really unique Fire Emblem characters are Corrin and Robin. But now we have Byleth, and she's making use of like all of the Fire Emblem 3 houses. Like, I haven't played the game, I'm not a huge Fire Emblem fan, but it looks like she's taking use of like the 3 main weapons that each of the captains or like the heads of the houses use. And I think that that's something really cool because that way at least we're not losing 3 character slots because all the characters are kind of represented through that. I don't know. I haven't played the character quite yet, so I can't really give a good answer on that, but at least Byleth looks different enough that it's not going to be just another version of Marth.
Right. So, PapaGenos, any thoughts about the stage, the character, the moveset? Because I feel like you are probably very positive about this, right? Regardless of the reveal, I think you probably really like the character.
So I mean, I have to play the character before I decide like if I like how they play. That's a whole other thing to me. I'm definitely more on the side of like I care a lot about the aesthetics in Smash, getting multiple series represented, stuff like that. Smash being a celebration of gaming. So I care more about that than a moveset. That's just me. Not really a competitive Smash player. Never. I've played a few like local tournaments for fun. Kind of hosted them at a video game store I used to work at, but that sort of thing that was not something I really delve into super deeply. But as far as the moveset, I think I said it before that I think it's probably the best representation of Fire Emblem yet, despite not really liking the character in a vacuum, not liking the character reveal and everything. In a vacuum, it is the best representation of Fire Emblem yet with that moveset. As far as stage and music and all the stuff that came with Byleth, I'm sure I don't really know the Fire Emblem 3 Houses songs. I'm sure they're pretty good though. The stage itself looks pretty cool, transforming and everything. It definitely represents 3 Houses with all the characters and everything it showed and stuff like that. I do just personally wish we had gotten some series that either doesn't have any, stage or anything like that. Music-wise, once again, I feel like Altair or the Rabbids or Cuphead could have brought in unique music. Instead, we're going to get more Fire Emblem tracks. And you could have done Byleth as the Mii costume and brought in tracks. It's, I don't know how the rules are here with that stuff. But like, that's kind of how I feel about it.
Right.
It's okay, but it's definitely like part of the whole package of like, we're just getting more and more. And when you get a playable character, you get all this extra stuff too. Byleth having a male and female all is pretty cool. But once again, like it felt like I think Joker was maybe going to get a male and female all. I know that was like a data mine thing, and I think Kasumi was added to the upgraded Persona 5 game, I forget what it's called, Persona 5, like the +1 deluxe version, whatever it was called. I'm spacing on the name at the moment. But like Joker didn't get alt costume, but Byleth does. So I do feel like a lot came with this character, which is cool to get a lot of stuff. At the same time, definitely wish all that effort had spread out to somewhere else. But that's just my opinion on it.
Right, absolutely. So to go on a tiny bit of a rant over here, I feel like, yes, I want to echo what you guys are saying. I mean, it's really cool that we get to live in a world where we have a game called Super Smash Bros. Ultimate that is combining all of these franchises that we love about Nintendo, and then also on top of it adds characters like Mega Man, which is insane, and Sonic, and characters like, Simon Belmont, and now even bigger, requests like King K. Rool, Ridley, and all those crazy fun third-party characters. But if you are going to do, like, if you're Sakurai or Nintendo, and you're doing a Fighter's Pass, and you're basically letting people pay for content that they don't know about, and then you're showing characters like Joker, big third-party character, Banjo, Hero, Terry, all this kind of stuff. It's really jarring to have this character kind of appear at the end of it, and it really feels like a marketing ploy where I usually, can kind of see that angle where it's like, okay, it kind of makes sense. They need to make their money. They need to, promote their other assets. They can use Smash through that. I feel like it makes no sense at all to do that through this first Fighter's Pass. I feel like it was almost a little bit of a cheat to the audience. I feel like it kind of disrespected the audience in a lot of ways where I don't feel entitled to a better character than this, or, a more appealing character than this. But I do really feel like, as a Super Smash Bros. Fan, as someone who's followed the series for this long, I feel like ending downloadable paid content on a note like this, I feel is doing a disservice to what you build up over the rest of the pass. I feel like they kind of need to reevaluate their decisions, especially in terms of reveals and what they reveal when, because as we discussed here, probably replacing Piranha Plant with this character would have been better, probably would have been done at this time because it's, of course, 3 houses and a very, new character. I, however, do feel like there are business decisions that you have to make that also take into account fandom and the fans and people that, gave their lives to, play Smash Brothers competitively or, to talk about it every single day. I feel like it has to, at some point, kind of come back to this: what will make the biggest online impact? What will, make most fans happy? And I feel like this character did, answer none of those questions. It's not a character that I feel the casual audience would be very excited about. I think it's not a character that a lot of the, mainstream or the big competitive audience would be very excited about. If we, look at the reactions of people that we know within this YouTube sphere, we, really know that people are, very unfazed by this character reveal. So, to end my little tangent over here, I am a little bit disappointed in the way that they approached this. I feel like there's a lot of, other characters that deserve this spotlight, as to PapaGenos' point, characters that deserve their pieces of music in Smash, their bit of gaming history, if we look at PlayStation, Microsoft, and even characters that appeared as Mii costumes. I mean, that is the insane thing to me. I mean, you have Altair weirdly, denoted as a character from the Altair franchise, which is not a thing. That character is just from Assassin's Creed, and they didn't want it to say Assassin's Creed because then, oh, is that Ezio? Or, they wanted to, really be like, oh, this is the character. It's the original assassin. I think that it was a little tone deaf in a lot of parts. I feel like there's a lot of people that really want Mega Man X in the game that now, have to do with a Mii costume, which is okay. And, the rabbits, of course, they would have made a funny character, but seeing them as a Mii costume makes sense. All this kind of stuff. Cuphead at the same time, too. But, if you look at it, through that macro lens and kind of see, but we did get Byleth and, the male and female version and, this stage and that kind of stuff. So I feel like, yeah, it's a bit of a tone-deaf decision. I feel like there's probably a lot of other choices that they could have made. If we got Byleth as the first character of a Fighter's Pass, or even the second, I feel like the first one would probably have caused more trouble. But definitely, if this character got revealed at the Game Awards, they would torch Nintendo. I feel like there's a lot of ways that I feel like this was a decision that was impacted by Nintendo's own vision. And if we know something about Sakurai's, that Sakurai's own vision probably always, outsmarts everything in Smash Brothers. There's been a few moments where Sakurai has made missteps, but I feel like there's probably no one within Nintendo right now, no single developer, no director that could handle the Smash Brothers series. I feel like Sakurai is a god amongst men, and that, he's physically alive right now is a huge achievement, that him working through all these Smash Brothers games. But I feel like, when Nintendo meddles with this kind of stuff, I have to feel like that is the reason why the 3 houses stuff is being added. I feel like that is making me a little bit sad about the future of that Fighters Pass, where it could actually be actively promoting stuff that we might not be all that into. And that would be a sad thing if we like give our director, which we've all given, you know, all the faith, and everyone's, you know, making the memes, everyone's, you know, accepting him as basically, you know, shepherding this process, even though along the way mistakes were made, tripping and brawl, that kind of stuff. I feel like the future has to be a little bit brighter than having the final character be revealed as Byleth from Three Houses, the flavor of the year Fire Emblem game that will be forgotten like Corrin was forgotten and all other characters from that franchise slowly become, right? I mean, I like the moveset, I like the stages, all fine and good, but to do it in this, I think it's a time and place situation where I didn't really enjoy what happened here, and I feel like they have to fix that. I feel like they have to, out of the gate, do a Nintendo Direct this month and still get people back on board, you know, announce that first character of the next Fighters Pass, you know, put him in shadows, you know, show a wireframe model Sakurai, but you need to get people back on board. And I myself, I like the character choice, I like stuff like that, but just the timing and everything, they need to kind of repent for what happened here for the fandom, you know? I think a lot has been shattered along the way, and I'm really curious if you guys have any thoughts.
Yeah, so you brought up the possibility of, I do think we need a Nintendo Direct pretty soon. Just looking at Nintendo itself, we got Pokemon stuff, we've gotten Smash stuff. There's a lot more to talk about. Animal Crossing's coming out in a couple months here. We don't really know what 2020 Nintendo looks like. I wouldn't be that shocked if we got a Nintendo Direct in the next few weeks here, maybe early February or at the end of January here, and got, like you said, the next character revealed, not, you know, in this way, not where we get, like, everything about them, but maybe just who they are. Right. Just to kind of maybe put some people at ease for that next Fighters Pass and what it's going to entail. Yeah, and I definitely totally echo, and that's kind of my whole issue with the Fire Emblem thing. I echo the sentiments of Smash being a celebration of gaming history and everything, and just, you know, how important that can be, looking at it as like a piece of art, looking at it as Sakurai's like masterpiece and stuff like that. And then to see it, which, you know, I get that it's also a product, you know, kind of just be used to potentially sell something, potentially put out, like you said, I think flavor of the year Fire Emblem character, right. Push sales for that, whatever, you know, whatever it is. When I see it used for that, you know, it kind of takes me back down to the like, okay, it's just a product to buy. And I personally hold it up on this big pedestal and want to see it reach its full potential. I really want that to happen. So when the choice is the opposite, when the choice becomes, you know, it's a product, then I'm going to criticize it like I would a product from a company. You know, if a company wants me to buy something, as a consumer, I get to have I'm entitled to my opinion. And my opinion was that this is not the direction I want this product to go in. Mostly because I want the product to not be a product. I want it to be that piece of art. I want it to be that celebration of gaming.
Right. And I feel like you are totally correct in your thoughts. And I feel like they reached that point. They did reach that point within this specific game even. I feel like they reached that point with Ridley. I feel like they reached it with Simon Belmont. I feel like they reached it even with, you know, Banjo, and I wouldn't say Incineroaring Ken, that would be a little bit too much, but I feel like they definitely reached it with Banjo in the DLC, maybe even Hero, Joker, to a certain extent Terry. They did reach that extent where it's like, oh, this is not about the money. This is just about the fans. This is just about the people that have stayed so long. So, of course, they need to make their money. They need to make their statement, but I feel like Byleth is not doing that for them. I think that the opposite happened. I'm curious what Chris thinks about all this.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with everything that you guys were saying. One of the things that, and I know this might get a little off topic, but I've been really dying to hear your guys' opinions on this, is Vergaben and Sabi. I have been dying. Like, I really want to know what you guys think about it. Now, if you guys didn't know, which I'm sure you guys did, during the Direct, or like right before the Direct, Vergaben actually went ahead and posted all of the Mii costumes and everything else like that, and he got them all 100% correct. And people were saying, oh, Vergaben downloaded the video while it was playing or something, and, you know, he posted it live. But do you guys think that Vergaben especially has credibility? I know that PapaGenos talks to Sabi a lot, so it might be a little bit, he probably has more to say on that, but Vergaben, man, I don't know where I sit with him anymore.
Do you want me to throw my 2 cents in on all that? I have, like, I've been saving stuff and getting, like, you know, ready to talk about it in some, you know, whenever I talk about speculation next, I usually after things like this, I usually give it quite a few days, almost a week or so, just to gather, compile everything, and think it all over before I do a speculation video. But so I do think Vergeman probably did know the Mii costumes early. It may have only been slightly in advance, like you said, because he posted them right beforehand. But there was the whole thing where remember Vergeman put out this big long list of like tons of characters and then reeled it back. Do you remember when that happened?
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Okay, so that list had a Nintendo character on it. That was one of the things it said. And then Vergeman reeled it back and said that they were kind of misinformed. Their source, they didn't understand exactly what their source was saying, and that was a mistake. When that happened, Sabi called Vergeman out and said that Sabi, the source that Sabi has, was saying that something on that long list is what it is.
A Nintendo character, right?
And a Nintendo character was one of the things. Not after Vergeman pulled it back, but on the long list. So that right there tells me I think Sabi's source did know who it was. According to Sabi, who I've talked to, they say their source. They say that they did know it was Byleth. They, basically were saying that they just didn't want to tell anybody because it was so. People. I like talking about speculation. I like talking about leaks and stuff like that. But I completely understand people's jobs are on the line and stuff. That it's it's a serious thing at a certain extent. So like obviously I don't want anybody getting in trouble or anything like that. So. I understand if Sabi's source couldn't tell us who it was because it could get traced back to someone or something like that. But I believe they did know. I don't know about if Vergeman knew or not, but I'm going to guess that they didn't know the Mii costumes. I also had one other person. This was the person. Do you guys know about It was like a list of Mii costumes that had like Rocket Grunts and Gomon. Yeah. And that person, so that person talked to me. They're like, they have kind of spotty info. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. They have multiple sources of their own though. But that person talked to me the night before the direct, and they said, I don't think they knew the character or anything, but they said something's going to happen tomorrow that I think is going to hurt morale for Geno being a playable character. And I talked to them afterwards, and I asked, like, was it because Cuphead is like a Sans costume, upgraded and has a single track with him? And he said, yeah, I knew about Cuphead. That's what I think that's going to hurt the morale for Geno being playable. And yeah, that's kind of, I think that person did know as well, simply because that, from a certain perspective, that does kind of hurt Geno's chance of being playable. It makes him seem like getting that costume treatment would be more likely. I'm cool with that Mii costume treatment. I'll be, very upfront about that. But yeah, so that's pretty much where I'm at. There's one other person on Twitter right now. I think Mandy Can or something like that is what they go by.
Yeah, I've looked into this too. Yeah. Yeah,
so they posted Byleth beforehand. I think they posted something about the Game Awards not having a reveal, and they're saying Crash is next. I talked to them.
Really?
Yeah, so I talked to them briefly. And I'm going to kind of stay neutral on it, but I'm just going to throw this word of caution out there. There is a trick you can do on Twitter where basically you post a bunch of predictions and then you just delete all the wrong ones and then you make yourself known. And as far as I'm aware, Mandy Can doesn't have a ton of followers, and I had never heard of this person beforehand, so I'm just wary of that potential situation. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm not saying that's not what happened. So yeah, that's everything I kind of got as far as leakers go. But I think Sabi and Vergeman actually came out good after this. I know people like to say they call it, but in my opinion, I actually think they were spot on with everything. Even if their sources weren't telling them exactly who it was, that even makes sense with what Sakurai was saying, how close they kept it into Nintendo. So I actually think the leakers were right here.
Sure. And now that we know it, now that we know the next fighter is Crash, we can all make our big, YouTube videos with the huge, thumbnail. Big league, 100% confirmed true. Crash is coming. Here's why. Welcome. So, yeah, I do actually think that it's an interesting conversation to talk about these leakers and people that, seem to know the know. There are definitely people that have jumped, I feel like they are so scared to lose their jobs, these people. And it makes so much sense, of course, because I've been on the other side of the curtain. I've worked for Nintendo. I know how secret these things get. I know how crazy these things can get on the inside. So you definitely don't want to, do anything to disparage that or put your job in jeopardy. But I feel like some people thrive on the fact that they have that tiny little inside information where it feels like just like a few minutes before the character showed up on the stream, people were like, "Oh, by the way, it's Byleth, and this is the stage, and these are the characters." It's like, oh man, I like you guys know, but like you're a little bit too scared. Like you guys can like hint, you guys can give us like these pieces of information. So that's what I like about the situation, where they can't spoil things because it'll give away their position probably, and probably a whole like few pieces of people actually know these informations, or these pieces of information, sorry. So I feel like that is probably a big deal here, where it's like they're even working with the audience to kind of experience it together. In this point, with Byleth, it worked the other way around, where actually it would have been very interesting to know about this beforehand, so we would get less disappointed with the characters. But on the whole, I feel like it's interesting to talk about these figures, and that's pretty much all I say. I'm not really involved with them personally. I've reached out to them personally, I've talked to them personally, but it's not a part of the discussion that I personally really like. I like the speculation side of things, and when things get too detailed, especially when it comes to people that are not Nintendo. I like the Nintendo stuff where it's like, oh no, we accidentally put up a video online where it's like we spoiled the character through a song. I like that kind of stuff when a lot of people are saying, I know the character and it's this character from this franchise, but it could be from this franchise, and also it is a on this, and if people find out who it is, you're going to feel this emotion. It's like, I don't really want to play that game all too much, but I do feel like I see the fun side in that too. So I'll get in that pool when it's warm, I guess. What about you, Chris?
I don't know. I guess maybe I'm just impatient.
We
but
all
I
are.
absolutely love.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm ready. Sorry. I love hearing who the next character is going to be. Speculation is always super fun, and that's the reason I made this channel was because I wanted to talk about Smash Ultimate, like potential characters that could be coming really soon. And I don't know, man. Like, I think that Sabi and Vergaben, like, it's hard because Sabi and Vergaben are two people that I like you said, Callum. I personally never talked to Vergaben before. I've talked to Sabi like a little bit, but they both seem to be like really good guys, and I don't think that either one of them want to get anybody in trouble or anything else like that. So it's very interesting whenever we get stuff from Vergaben, like this giant list of deconfirmed characters and companies, right? Like, that's super interesting. And when Sabi says, "Ooh, I hope you guys are looking forward to the Game Awards" or something else like that side of speculation to me, like figuring out that we have something coming and figuring out like, these are the characters that aren't going to be in the game. That's awesome, because then it narrows down the pool and I get to figure out who the characters are going to be a little bit earlier, which it's just fun, man. I love it. I love everything
Nice.
about it.
So with that said, I wanted to kick it to you guys for like your final thoughts on this, and I feel like the final thoughts kind of need to be towards the future and not necessarily towards what happened. I feel like it's dramatic. This was like a support group for like the Byleth stuff. This was like our little support group. Like our three chairs are like in some sort of circle with all our fans, of course, with everyone in the chat. But thank you guys so much for joining. There's one more question that I really want to ask you guys, and that's like, what are you seeing the future of the Fighters Pass? What will it be? So, Papa, maybe start with you.
Sure. Yeah, and I totally agree with that sentiment. I have issues with this particular reveal and everything, but I am not at all planning to dwell on it. I am, totally looking to the future here and the past, because I think Smash is amazing up to this point, and looking to the future, it's going to be even more amazing, probably beyond what I ever expected Smash to ever be. But I'm really excited to speculate characters for at least like the next 2 years, because this is also the next pass is, I think, ending December 2021. So, like, wow, that's pretty far out there. So we have 2 years of these, 6 at least. There was that data mine of, I think it was like 16 spots with like Piranha Plant or something, which would mean 4 more after this 6. I'm not saying that I'm expecting that, but I'm also saying that every time we've tempered expectations, they blow it out of the water. So it's totally possible we end up with that full, 4 more after the 6 or something, or maybe 4 echoes or something that happened, that gets sprinkled about throughout these 6 that aren't part of the 6, but whatever, they fill up the roster that way. But I'm just super excited to keep speculating. That means 2 more E3s, most of the character reveals. I love speculating, so having those 2 years in front of us is just awesome. Can't wait to do it. Can't wait to see who we get and everything like that. So again, even though I consider this particular reveal a low point, Smash as a whole is amazing. Sakurai is amazing. Can't say enough, good things about both of those things, Smash and Sakurai. Really just wanted to live up to the full potential, and with 6 more characters, I think it's definitely going to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, very, very excited.
Awesome. So your final thoughts, Chris?
I am done with Fire Emblem. No more, please. But no, in all actuality, I think that the next characters that we are going to get, if this actually does end up being the last batch of DLC, I think they're going to be crazy. And I don't just say crazy as in like the third party sense. I'm saying crazy as in the first party sense as well. Like, yeah, we might not get characters from Nintendo that are as popular as Mario or Link, but one of the things that I really want to see are characters that may not be as popular. Like, I think it was one of the best reveals, like looking back at it now, was Piranha Plant, because that was just a normal Mario villain. Like, everyone thought that you had to like be this giant, big name character to make it into the game. And then we got Piranha Plant, a character that did not have a lot to go off of in terms of a Smash Ultimate moveset. So I hope that we get characters that are crazy and out there like that. Now, in all actuality, yeah, we're definitely going to get a lot of big third-party characters, because those are the characters that are going to end up making Nintendo a lot of money. But I also think that Sakurai is going to balance it out, especially if Nintendo didn't give Sakurai a list once again. Like, if these are all Sakurai's picks, I think that we're going to get a lot of characters that we really want to see join the battle, and I think there's going to be a lot of surprises. If I had to say right now, I think we're going to see Sora, Crash Bandicoot, and maybe Steve from Minecraft join the battle. So I think we're in for a lot of surprises. That's just my gut feeling.
All right. Well, I think that those thoughts are something that I'd like to take to the future and kind of see what it ends up being, because especially those 6, I mean, there's a lot of possibility here. There's like 6 characters, and that could literally be anyone if we are to believe that previous Fighters Pass, third-party characters representing different parts of gaming, and also first-party characters that might be slightly disappointing, right? So all of that combined, I would just wanted to thank my guests and, off the top kind of say, it's been really fun talking about all of this. That first Fighters Pass feels like, phase 1 of the DLC is now complete, and that we can, move to the future where, everything is still in shadow. And that actually is a very exciting thing. I mean, it even reminds me of the fact that, you remember back in the day when we got that Splatoon reveal, and that it was like the first Smash Brothers Ultimate trailer, and it was like all the characters in shadow with a giant flaming Smash symbol, and just the Splatoon characters, looking off into the distance with the symbol in the eye. I feel like this is almost the same situation, where if we allow ourselves to kind of go back to that moment and think like, this is essentially the same thing that's happening now. We didn't get too many new characters in the Ultimate base roster, but I think like 6 new characters that we don't know about. That is huge. That's insane. And yes, actually, there's no real like leak that actually predicted like 6 new characters. So there is a lot of surprise left to be revealed. So I am immediately like already going through my mind of like, this character from a first party I think would be really good. I feel like character maybe from Mario and Rabbids would be really cool, or different characters from like first person shooters, Doomslayer, Master Chief, or iconic characters like Crash Bandicoot could definitely make it in. There's talk about Arl, Puyo Puyo, Ryu Hayabusa, Dante from Devil May Cry. We all talked about those characters. So it's open, it's wide open, and that's actually the thing that I love most about this Smash Brothers stuff, is where the future is bright. And, it's not a new game that's on the horizon, but it might as well be, right? It's 6 characters that we don't know about, with 6 stages that's now been confirmed. It's not just characters, it's also music, it's also all this good stuff in terms of spirit boards. So I am very excited. I want to thank, from the bottom of my heart, my 2 guests for today. And of course, you guys are all probably on different streams or on different channels right now, because it's running on both my channel, Blocked Content, on PapaGenos' channel, and on LaxChris's channel. So go ahead and leave a like. Please subscribe to the channel you're watching this on, and then go to the other channels and also subscribe to them, because we all want to support our brothers here. It's been really fun to talk about everything Smash with you guys. That'll have to do it for today. And, you know, whenever we have more to talk about in terms of the speculation squad, we will assemble back together, because that's what we like to do when there's a lot to talk about in terms of a Sakurai Direct. Maybe when that, you know, Nintendo Direct in January or February finally shows up, we will come back together again. What do you guys think?
Absolutely.
I'm totally cool with that. Yeah, I always love talking with you guys.
Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you guys around the corner where there's always more LaxChris, PapaGenos, and blocked content. See ya.